I know. Here, okay, the webinar has begun. Everybody, we're live. Okay, officially live. Welcome to Behind the Build. I love this title. I think this is because it literally is behind the build, below the hood. I got a sneak peek at this yesterday, everybody. And even I'm blown away. I'm going to be learning all of this at the exact same time as all of you. So this is going to be one heck of a good time. So welcome in. And again, welcome whether you're joining us on Facebook or if you're here in Zoom, we welcome you. And we are watching all of your comments live as well. So even if you're in Facebook, don't worry. We've got Bonnie. She's here behind the scenes right now and she's watching Facebook. So she can share any of the questions and stuff with all of us here. And then I'll be also watching for chat. So welcome in and thanks for joining us. Now, before I introduce our wonderful guest today, I do just want to go over a couple things, couple housekeeping things. Let me switch my slide. A couple things and then we'll roll into here. One, this is being recorded. So don't worry if you know somebody who missed this. If they did miss this, you need to tell them they need to come back and watch this because it's going to be really big. It's going to be awesome stuff. And if you have, you have to hop off early, don't worry. We will be putting this onto our YouTube channel shortly after this airs. So that way you can go on there and check it out. And then also, again, I was already mentioning this, but the live Q&A. Now, this session is going to be a little bit shorter than we normally do. So this session will be about, we'll see 30, 40 minutes, see kind of where it goes. But we will try to get those questions answered, whether you're on Facebook or you're here in Zoom. We'll be watching for those. And if we don't get to them during the session, we will come back on Facebook, check out those comments, but also feel free, reach out to our support team at professional@travefy.com or just live chat them in their account and you'll be able to get those questions answered as well. And then the third thing that I want to mention is if you are not part of our Facebook group, you should be in there. You should join it. Join the Facebook group because that's where all the conversations keep going after all of these sessions every day. And it's so much fun. People are sharing photos and they're sharing, things that they're building. It's really good time. So if you're not in that group, go find it. It's the Travefy official Facebook group and be a part of that. And then another thing that I want to call out is something new that we're doing this year in training camp. Now, I know we're on day 3, so you might already know about this. You might have already been joining us on these, but if not, we are doing a new agent series this year. So what we're doing is we decided to take one session every day to truly focus on a new agent, a new advisor, or even if you're new to Travefy, these are still really helpful because each one of these sessions is going to build you from the ground up in Travefy and set you up for success. So we're going to walk through how do you set up your website? How do you set up your CRM? Today, we're doing proposals. So proposals is actually after this. I'll be coming back on here and showing you all about proposals, decisions, quote building. And then tomorrow, I'll be talking about itineraries. So make sure you join us for those because those have been a lot of fun this week. So really good time there. And then the fun does not stop there, everybody, because happy hour. Kyle and Leahart, you guys should join us on this because tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Central, we will wrap up the whole time with you all by doing trivia happy hour. So you can join Bonnie, me, and Doug's all. We're bringing Doug in from the sales team. If you haven't met Doug yet, you will get to during this session. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you can win prizes. So join us for those. That will be really fun. And then the prizes don't stop there. We also have a social contest going on, and this has been my favorite thing. At the end of every day so far, I get on and I look at all these hashtags, and it just makes me so excited because seeing all of your awesome faces, watching, tuning in from everywhere you are in your office, it looks like, outside, just enjoying yourself and hanging with us. It's so fun to see. So put your pictures on there, and it's just hashtag TravefyTC25. And then tag us so that way we can see it and get in there. And you can tag us on Facebook or Instagram. That's where we'll be seeing everything at. So lots of fun things there. And then finally, right before I'm going to hand it off here soon, But if you aren't currently a Travefy user, you will want to be one after this, because you're going to see all of the really amazing things that are coming. But you can start a free trial at any point. So if you want to start a free trial after this session, just go to travefy.com, start a free trial. I highly recommend once you do that, you'll have free reign to use all of our tools. But then I would suggest scheduling a demo with our sales team, because then you can get one-on-one and just really chat with one person from our team, explain what your business model is, what you're trying to do, accomplish, and then we can point you in the right directions for that. So that is what I would have to recommend. Now, I'm going to stop sharing here really quick. And I want to turn it over to our very special guest. So first of all, I didn't introduce myself, but I'm Stephanie. So good to meet you all. And I'm just going to be kind of moderating in the background, but the real stars of the show is Kyle and Leart. And Kyle and Leart, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys take it away and introduce yourselves.
Yeah, and I'll start. I'm Kyle, and I think I probably saw a lot of you on Tuesday at the keynote. And I am sitting here, and I'm really excited about two things. The first is in the keynote, I got the privilege to kind of introduce a lot of what we've been doing around CRM with you. And now this is a session where we go a step deeper, get a lot more hands-on, and actually look at the demo and answer some questions as well. The second thing I'm excited about is I get to sit back and learn with the rest of you and just ask questions of Leart. So Leart, would you mind introducing yourself? Leart has been all things CRM here at Travefy so far.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, everyone. So I'm Liat, a product manager here at Travefy, based in Toronto, but the accent is real, originating from the UK. I've been with the team for a little under a year now, and most recently, as Kyle mentioned, my focus has been on really building out our CRM vision, essentially helping advisors manage everything from client relationships to commission tracking, all within Travefy. A big part of my role is essentially speaking to users like you, travel pros who are balancing client needs, bookings, payments, and relationships, all whilst running a business, really. The features we're talking about today are really a result of those conversations. So I'm really excited to share what we've built and also what's coming.
Awesome. Yeah, and this session is called Behind the Build. So I'm going to hold us for just a little bit longer. And before we jump into the actual demo of things, can you just give everybody a really quick overview of like how product development works at Travefy and how some of these features go from idea to reality?
That's a great question. Here at Travefy, we really try to build features that solve the real needs of advisors. That means we do a lot of user interviews. I'm sure a lot of you have been a part of those. We send out surveys very regularly. We analyze feedback. And we also like to test things in small beta groups before releasing broadly. We know that the needs of advisors vary greatly. From there, we work really closely with our amazing design and engineering team to scope out what's possible, but then also build things out iteratively. We do believe in getting value into your hands very quickly. And an example of that is supplier invoicing. And we learn a lot from the usage, from the feedback, and then we can improve based on what works and what doesn't for our agents. We do also aim to release continuously and constantly, whether it's small improvements or big features. The roadmap we're sharing today is actually just the beginning of a deeper focus into ensuring Travefy has the tools necessary to be the centerpiece of your business.
And give us a little bit more of a sense when you say we release kind of constantly, is that like once a week we're pushing to production or once a day? Kind of where do we sit in terms of how often we're pushing new value out there?
That's a great question as well. Well, we actually release multiple times weekly, sometimes multiple times daily. Whenever we produce something of value, we push it out.
Awesome. That's really cool. And I want to go ahead and let's dive into CRM, but let's start with kind of those bigger ideas behind the CRM work. Where did we start and why?
Yeah, so CRM is a scary word, but our goal is pretty simple. It's really to make sure that Travefy is capable of running your travel business. Right now, many of you are using Travefy and something else, whether that be another software, spreadsheets, maybe even pen and paper for CRM tasks like tracking payments, emails, managing contacts. That's fine and it works, but we believe it can be better. We want to bring those workflows into Travefy, a unified place where you can send a proposal, collect an authorization, message the client, track the commission, and more importantly, maintain those key client relationships all in one flow. That's essentially what we mean when we talk about CRM, building features that allow you to run your business effectively.
Awesome. And now let's jump in to actually like showing some screens and talking through what we've been working on. And let's start with what's actually out there as of this week on the invoicing side.
Absolutely. It really is kind of our first step into building a smarter financial toolkit inside Travefy. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in a moment, but if we roll back to how we like to release, we do like to release things iteratively, and this is kind of the first version of supply invoicing that users have access to. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and then do the question of, can everyone see my screen?
I can see it.
Awesome. So I have Travefy open up right here. And essentially what we want to do is give you a centralized place to track what's been charged and what you're invoicing a user for. So as kind of the FAQ also says, I'm going to quickly walk through how we do this. So essentially we enter a trip, and there's my trip. This is Kyle's mega trip around Europe. I know you've been wanting to go there for some time, so I've sorted that out for you. And then an invoice is essentially another trip item within the trip context. So I'll go ahead and add new, select supplier invoice, and there we have it, a line-by-line item that a user or a traveler will receive from you as an agent or as an advisor. Essentially, I can manually now input kind of the hotel cost, Hilton, any description you wish, the price that this may be, and add any line items for excursions, car rentals, or anything you might want to do. So let me just go ahead and fill this out, kind of show you how quick this can be. And then car rental. And let me do this 2,000 USD. We also do have the ability to charge multiple currencies. Kyle, you are going to Europe, so there are going to be some euro costs, just to make sure that the traveler is aware of everything that they are authorizing in that step. So that's essentially the invoice line items. Now, as an advisor, I can also create a payment schedule for this user. I might, this might be one whole cost of $4,000, but I can also create a payment schedule. I also do have the ability to hide the individual costs. By clicking this button, the traveler will only see the total cost of the invoice. Now, again, it completely depends on how you run your business, but we did want to add that ability as it was a major part of the feedback in our initial user interviews. So I'm actually going to use a payment schedule here. I'm going to add a few installments. So the deposit is going to be around 10%, so it's 400. And then I might add a final payment, which is going to be the remainder. And that's not due for July 1st. So Kyle gets saving. After that, I can add any terms and conditions and any attachments that I might want to on this invoice. This all looks good to me, but obviously, as with everything in Travefy, we do want to give you the ability to preview it before you actually send it off to the traveler. So I'm going to go ahead and preview this. And as you can see, I have a really clean line-by-line item invoice with my branding and any other information I wanted to here. Now, at the moment, there are a few other things we want to improve on, which you'll see a little bit later, that will actually empower the invoice a little bit more. But if there's any information, I'm based in Ontario, so I know there are loads of TCO compliances. We do have the text box there for you to add that information in. We are going to improve that as we improve out some of our contacts enhancements and pull those directly into the invoice. So really happy with this. I think this is a great invoice. I'm going to go ahead and send it to Kyle. Go ahead and send it to Kyle. Hey, Kyle, get to saving as a message to get to Kyle ASAP. So I can also CC myself as with everything in Travefy. So once I send that email, we now have a locked invoice. Now, again, this is something that we've heard a bit in the feedback, and I did want to spend a bit of time discussing that because of the last few days, we've been talking about editing an invoice. We at Travefy really want to make sure that our invoicing is PCI compliant. We're actually leading that amongst some of the other softwares that you might have heard of or using, but our invoicing and our CC authorization kind of collection features are PCI compliant. Once an invoice has been sent, it will actually go against PCI compliance to edit that invoice. We are adding a few features that allow you to kind of add line items a little easier and request payment schedules, but for now, the invoice will be locked to this. So I'll go ahead and check my email as a traveler. Oh, I've received it already. Awesome. Oh, no, this is the wrong one. Apologies. Let me go ahead.
Love the live demos.
Yeah, let's go ahead and refresh. New supply invoice. I should get saving. So as a traveler, this is what they see. So if I click the invoice, you'll see I have a really well-branded invoice, really clear of what my payment schedule is, what I'm paying for, and the ability to authorize payments. So I might authorize the next payment, which is the deposit, add a payment method, introduce any of my kind of details I might want, and then continue there. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just pause and add some details there. And then I'll show you what it looks like once we actually, oh, apologies. So a user would go ahead and add their credit card details on here, the way they do today in the current app. Main Street, Los Angeles.
And I think this is hidden for all of us, which is a security feature of Zoom to not show the credit card information that Liart's entering right now.
That's it. So yeah, absolutely. So I've go ahead and added some credit card information in there, and then I can sign this off. As Kyle, by the way, I am being Kyle here in this scenario as a traveler. I can then sign this off, and you'll see we still have our PCI compliant security features, which is the IP address. And then I'll show the PDF attachment a little later. So once I go ahead and authorize, I have authorized that payment. One thing I did want to call out is this link or this invoice that Kyle has is a living document. It's actually a document that Kyle can go back and check what's been charged, what's been authorized, what do I have left, and can actually help Kyle really plan out any payments in the future. So as I've done that, you'll see the status is currently authorized. And the authorized amount is $400, which was the deposit. So
just to play that back to make sure I'm understanding everything, from an advisor side, we don't let you edit that invoice because that's not really a standard workflow, and we limit that to help protect you as an advisor, because that's not something that you should be doing with your clients. But for your client, this is a living document, and as they're entering information or things are getting paid, they can check and always see kind of that real-time status of where things are.
Absolutely, yeah. PCI compliance really calls for clarity for the payee. So as a traveler, Kyle, you are now aware of what you need to pay for this trip in this one invoice. So editing this as an advisor at a later point really does cause some confusion for Kyle because, I've thought I authorized this and I thought I paid for this, but then adding line items is actually quite against kind of that PCI compliance rules. But yes, absolutely. As a traveler, a living document that you're able to kind of check, cross-reference at any point to be able to understand what payments you have left. So I'll go ahead and now just show the advisor's perspective. You'll see that we have a tab called authorizations. Once I click that and just refresh, sorry, you'll see that I now have an authorized payment line item from Kyle. I'll then be able to check the credit card, make my payment outside of Travefy to the supplier, and then mark this line item as paid. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and mark it as paid. And that's that. That's amazing. Now, if I go back to the living document I was briefly talking about earlier, you'll see that after a quick refresh, the status has now changed to charged. Kyle is now aware that that $400 has left the account and is now kind of a ticked line item. Kyle can now go for the next payment or the remaining balance, which in this case will be the next payment. So that's essentially the workflow of supplier invoicing V1. Now, we announced this on Tuesday. Y'all had a chance to play around with it, and the feedback has been coming in strong and actually has been very positive for us. There's a few things that I did want to talk through right now about what's coming, not in the next few weeks, actually, in the next few days, and could be as early as Monday morning. So
awesome. And before you dive in there, Liart, I just everything you've shown up to this point is on Travefy. So anybody on the call could go and create this and do exactly what you just walked us through, right?
Absolutely. This is all live. This whole workflow that I've just shown is completely in-app, and this is available for all agents today on our core plan.
Awesome. And now we're moving into what is coming. around invoicing?
Yeah, what is coming is going to be a big part of this. There's some things that are coming very soon, and there's some things coming a little later.
Awesome.
So in this particular scenario, I do want to talk about what's coming very soon, based on the feedback that a lot of our advisors have given over the last few days, and also kind of mimic them with real life situations. So as you saw through that workflow, as a traveler, I can only really authorize what the agent or what the advisor has put as an authorization line item. That can be a bit of an issue. Kyle might have won the lottery yesterday, got an extra $100, and wants to authorize that. So coming very, very soon, early next week, Kyle will be able to authorize a custom amount on this invoice. So if Kyle wants to authorize $50 or $100, $1,000, Kyle will be able to, and it will just pay against one of the line items that's unpaid. So you'll see here that the final payment is $3,600. Currently, in today's app, as a traveler, I'm only able to authorize $3,600. But coming very soon, and again, early next week, Kyle will have the ability to authorize $600 against this, or $1,000, or $50, or $10. Again, that's really helpful for your clients, as clients can have an extra bit of cash coming in, and they really want to put it towards their mega trip around Europe, which is really, really exciting.
Awesome. So that would be a partial payment if they had some of the money and wanted to start paying towards it. Or if they wanted to pay it ahead of schedule, they could go ahead and do that.
Absolutely, that's it. Yeah, and we really wanted to give as much flexibility to your clients as possible, just to really increase that kind of relationship there. But yes, they will be able to do partial payments against the line item at any point, whether that be in the future or something that's due fairly soon.
I have one quick question for you. There's a lot of this is so cool, by the way. But there's a lot of questions coming in from Facebook and Zoom on can you just really quickly show how do we mark once an installment has been paid? So where do you actually mark that at?
Yeah, I just showed us. I'm just going to go back to it. I probably whizzed through it. So you'll see that the authorizations is a tab within the supplier invoice. I didn't give this one a name. Apologies. I forgot that. But essentially, this is the summary that we created a bit earlier. If you jump into recipients, you'll be able to see who this was sent to, and also have the ability to resend, which, if it's going closer to the time, if you need to give Kyle a bit of a reminder, you can resend it directly from here. But the authorizations is where the magic happens. This is where essentially you're able to see what's been paid, what's not, what's been authorized and what hasn't. Because as we can see, the final payment has not been authorized yet. But I see the deposit here. I'm going to just change this back to authorized because Kyle did authorize the payment. Once I've done the payment to the supplier and everything's gone through, I will then click these three dots right here and I will mark as paid. Once I mark as paid, again, the status changes to charged, but more importantly, the document that Kyle has or the live living invoice will also be marked as charged, showing Kyle that money has gone and that part of the trip is paid for. And since this is the deposit, it's probably really exciting for Kyle.
He's going on the trip. Exciting.
So that's exactly how you mark it as paid. There is a caveat to that in the current iteration that you're seeing right now or that you have in your app right now as an advisor, you're not able to mark an item as paid if it has not been authorized. There was a lot of feedback on that over the last few days, which has been awesome. And that's something we're also changing for really, really early next week. Cool. Coming on probably Monday morning, most likely, you will be able to mark a line item as paid or mark a line item as partially paid, regardless of if a traveler or your client has authorized. And a couple of scenarios is Kyle just comes into my office and hands me a check. I want to mark that as, okay, Kyle's paid $500 towards this. There was no authorization. Kyle didn't do it through the credit card authorization form, but I want to mark that as paid. And obviously, as you're aware, that's all still on the PDF, and it'll be marked as like a payment that Kyle made, which really shows that kind of the track. It tracks all the payments that Kyle has made. I will quickly show the PDF here for you. As always, we do have the eSig PDFs when we're doing CC auths, which is a really good kind of trail of what's happened with these payments, and again, make sure that we're really PCI compliant. So I'll go ahead and download this PDF, and there you go. I still see the invoice items. I should have changed the name. Apologies. The name of the invoice will be up there, but then I can clearly see the dates, the due dates of the items, and it was authorized, and then actually have an idea of when it was when the invoice was sent, any IP addresses, things like that, and obviously all the authorizations that exist there and when they were authorized.
Awesome. This looks like just a very thorough paper trail that is not just PCI compliant, but really helps you document things to prevent some of those chargebacks.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. Because at Travefy, we do like to make sure that advisors are protected as much as possible. But yeah, it's a really good paper trail of kind of all the back and forth that have gone on with this invoice. So this still exists, and it's there for you to be able to see. Again, this is available in app today, so check it out. Let me just jump back to here. I did want to speak about something a little bit more forward-looking, but not months, again, a week and a bit or so. This flow, I think, is a very basic flow. You'll be able to add line items yourself, add prices, add descriptions. That's great. But then we started questioning, how can we do this a lot better and a lot quicker? Well, from next week, you will have the ability to pull invoice line items directly from your itinerary. So any item in your itinerary that is priced, with a click of a button, we will pull in the item names and their descriptions directly in this screen. So when you're creating a supplier invoice, it could be as simple as 2 clicks to have a full invoice created based on your itinerary that you've created for your traveler. Once you do that, you'll have all of the item names and descriptions. Quantities and the prices will obviously be there as well. You can still make edits, of course. We're not locking you in. You can still remove line items, of course, and add more if you wish, of course. But we really wanted to make sure that that workflow is as simplified as possible. On top of that, we have some way more exciting stuff coming with invoices later on, kind of in the month and in the year. But I think it'd probably be time to kind of move on to some of the exciting stuff we've got going on.
Yeah, that's awesome, Liart, and I see a lot of reactions in the chat at saving that time and really helping build the invoice while still giving plenty of control. One thing I do want to touch on before we move on, and we may it may be a little too early to talk about this. There have been a couple questions coming through about like, okay, the trip is pretty much set. I've sent the invoice. Late in the game, my client decides to add either upgrade a package or add an extra excursion on the trip or something like that. How would you imagine that being handled today?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've discussed that quite a lot internally, actually, because we know it's a very common use case. It happens all the time. Prices may change, but we need to make sure that an invoice that's sent is kind of locked in. So what we want to do is introduce the idea of sibling or child invoices based on a kind of a parent invoice, shall I say. Essentially, we'll have the ability to add items or edit items of an invoice that's already been sent, and make it kind of in the UI or the user interface, what the agent sees, make it all look in a nice and clean and single kind of home for that. So we will be introducing kind of workarounds to PCI compliance and make sure we still tick that box. But we will have the ability for users or our agents to make sure it's still in a very clean and effective manner.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think what you're saying is like, we always want to prioritize that your client experience, making sure it feels simple and they trust and have a lot of confidence in the invoices you're sending, while recognizing on the back end, they may not always know on day one exactly what they want to do. And there's a lot of these changes throughout the planning process. We want to make that as easy as possible for you while maintaining kind of that trust and relationship with the client.
That's it. Absolutely. It's essentially about that, making sure you look as professional to the client as to the traveler as possible, while still protecting you and your business from any kind of issues with payments.
Awesome. And I'm going to plant one more question, which I don't know if you want to answer now, or it might be a better one to push off. Rosa was wondering, are there going to be some sort of metrics or some way to know across trips how much each client owes at a point in time?
What a great question, and something that I will most likely answer in the next 15 to 20 minutes with some future-looking stuff.
Awesome.
I actually think that's an amazing segue. Thank you, Rosa. An amazing segue into what's coming next.
Cool. We might wait a little bit longer
Okay.
before we move on to that specifically, but I think one of the next things we wanted to talk through was another one that I got to talk about a little bit on Tuesday, which is on that email side of things and integrating some of that into Travefy. Can you kind of share what's coming and what's next with those?
Absolutely, yeah. We know that communication with the client is super key. It's kind of how you build the relationship. It's kind of how a lot of stuff gets done. And we know that a lot of our advisors do use email for that, and some obviously use our messaging service. But emails were a big request. How can we get emails integrated into Travefy? So we're actually worked on integrating Gmail and Outlook as well as IMAP directly into Travefy. I'm going to go ahead and show you kind of the first version. You may have heard in the keynote that we are waiting for approval from the likes of Google and Microsoft, but essentially you'll be able to now access all of your emails with a client directly in Travefy. Again, like everything we build, it is with the travel advisor in mind. So we are conscious of not pulling in any, doctor appointments or any other emails that aren't necessarily related to your trips in, but I'll go ahead and show you exactly what that looks like. So just to confirm, Google, we're waiting for approval from Google and Microsoft, which is kind of a process that we really can't control. And then you'll also be able to integrate with IMAP as well. I can go ahead and show that now. So currently in this version that you're seeing right now, which will be available to you very soon, the way you connect an account is by visiting a contact, clicking any contact you want, really, and then you'll see a new tab called Email. Once you click that Email tab, you'll be able to see a Gmail, an IMAP, and a Microsoft very soon. So I'm going to go ahead and connect my Gmail account. I will also pause my screen share for 2 seconds whilst I connect the Gmail account, but I will do that once I have to put in my details. But you'll see it's as simple as taking you to the Google page. You click on your email and then you import the necessary requirements there. So once I've done that, you'll see it just takes me back to Google. I continue.
This looks very familiar to a lot of other accounts that I've connected to Google.
Absolutely, yeah. We followed the complete guidelines of Google. Hence, our actual approval process was quite quick for the kind of the experience part, and now it's just the security part to make sure we are as secure as Google require, which I have no doubt with we will pass with flying colors. So once I click continue, that's it. My Gmail account is now in Travefy. I now have all of my emails with Kyle. Oh, live demo. Let me just go ahead and refresh.
Love the live demos. We did see, as you were filling stuff out, everybody, I think we saw that little, this account is not, or this app is not verified by Google. That was just notifying us of exactly where we are in the process. We are waiting for that verification.
Yeah, bear with me 2 seconds because this is working absolutely fine.
Awesome.
Now we go.
I'll mention too really quick that we have a lot of questions coming in, and Bonnie and I are trying to get to all them. So please bear with us. You might get them answered like after this session. So just FYI, I just asked some other people in our team like, can you hop in here? So FYI, we're working on it. So continue on. This is just such awesome stuff.
Awesome. So actually, what I might do is I might retry that. And that will be a really good opportunity to show you how you can disconnect from Google. So within the account name, you will go ahead and click account. And then with linked accounts, you'll be able to see all the accounts that you have linked. And if you jump to email, you'll see you're connected. So you simply just disconnect. And that's it. That's it. Travefy is no longer linked to your Gmail account or your Microsoft, or I'm sorry, I'm pausing my screen share. Apologies. So you go into your account, and then linked accounts, jump up to email, and then there was a disconnect button there. But I'm going to go ahead and reconnect now, and hopefully that works.
And while you're reconnecting, Liard, I think Faye was wondering, will I only see the email from clients that have contacts in Travefy, or what happens with the rest of my email that's not linked?
Yeah, so you will only see the emails that come in from your contacts at Travefy. So what we do is we run a filter that comes from Google, and we filter via the email address. So any other emails you have that might be more personal and might not be work related, we don't pull these into your Travefy account. Again, that's really to make sure that you keep your account kind of as clean as possible and focused on that client relationship there, and not really cause any confusion. I apologize, when I connected my Google account, I didn't give it permission. So at least that's working, which is really good. So I've just connected my account again and made sure I gave it all the right permissions to read and write. And now it should be working. Yay. So these are a couple of emails I threw on today just to kind of check out. So once I'm here, I can literally, like I said,
And just real quickly, Art, to make sure I caught that, this pulls in existing emails too. It's not just moving forward.
That's correct. That's correct. It pulls in all the emails that you have in your Gmail that are with kind of any email address that you have. So if you were to be like, oh, I haven't created that contact, now I'm not going to have all my emails. No, not true. If you create that contact, we will still pull in all the emails that you have with that contact in the past. Because dietary restrictions 3 years ago might be useful for a trip coming out in a couple of months. So once I click on a contact I have, I can go ahead on my emails and check all of the emails that we have back and forth. I can also compose an email directly to them, and you'll see the from account, the to account, and I'm able to add a subject and any kind of text there. This is all available today, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. So I will say,
and just to clarify, when you say available today, we're waiting on that approval from.
Apologies, yes, we're waiting on that approval from Google, but we're just waiting on them. Once they give us that approval, we'll be turning it on live for everyone here. Hey, Kyle, just confirming your dietary restrictions for this trip. Now, one of the big positives of having emails here is I can't remember what trip I'm talking about, but I can actually just jump to the form or jump to the itineraries directly on this page. And that is the big value we wanted to bring to our agents, is that they can have everything in one screen and be able to kind of pull in information as and when needed. So I'll go ahead and send this message. And I can go ahead and jump to my Gmail. If I give it a refresh, I can see the message from Kyle. So that is where we are today. Now, as we're waiting for Google's approval, as well as Microsoft, there are some changes that we are going to make to that page. You'll notice this is a very simple email where I haven't got any rich text formatting or any of that sort. That will be available in kind of the future versions. We are focusing on making sure your emails still look branded. They still look professional, even though you're kind of creating or composing them and replying from them directly from Travefy. We want to make sure that everything that you do is your brand and is your business, and we will be providing those features directly within Travefy. Things like rich text formatting, hyperlinking, adding images, adding that signature you've worked so hard on. All of those will be available within our email system. You'll also notice that currently emails are only on contacts. We think that's a great start, but we think emails should be in other places too. So in the near future, emails will also be accessible via a trip. And if you have kind of a group trip and many people on that trip, you'll be able to see all the emails that are related to that trip itself. So some really exciting stuff coming. I can actually show some of it in a prototype a little bit later. But that is the email functionality. Now, I was not sharing my screen earlier, but I'd really like to show you what it takes to disconnect the email. live. So as you see, I can kind of check this out. I can reply to any emails that kind of I've been sent. But once I go into my account again, in linked accounts, on the email tab, I'll be able to just disconnect the account there. And then that will no longer give you access to your emails. But as you saw earlier, I could reconnect it again in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and those emails that were within Gmail still come through. So that is our first version of email integration directly within Travefy.
Awesome. I yeah, was just enjoying watching all of that. But there's one topic that always comes up, and again, we just brushed the surface of this on Tuesday, but that is commissions. So what is our plan there?
Oh, exciting stuff
Oh,
coming.
and actually, I am going to take us back because there's a couple questions, and one thing I totally skipped. You walked us through Gmail. People are definitely wondering about Outlook. And then I've seen a couple other kind of email platforms or email addresses that people have that they're wondering about. So what are our plans with Outlook and then other email addresses?
It's a great question. Gmail is actually kind of the longest approval process. So we really wanted to make sure we had that ready. We're actually working on Microsoft as we speak. We have an amazing team working on the Microsoft integration. That's the Microsoft Exchange and the Outlook integration. So where you saw uh, this pretty button, you'll see the same one for Microsoft as you do in other apps you might notice. And then if you have a unique email provider.
Like a Yahoo or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that?
yeah, exactly. Yahoo, but even more unique. And I think Kyle, you were showing us on Tuesday about your own unique travel company. You will be able to connect those as well via something called IMAP. It's a protocol that all emails follow. Gmail and Microsoft are a bit more special. They have their own public-facing apps you can kind of connect to. But with IMAP, you will be able to connect any and every email address in the world that you wish directly within Travefy.
Awesome. And then for me, Kyle at the Bruce Traveler, when I connect that, I'm seeing those emails from my account. And when I send an email, even though I'm in Travefy sending it, it sends it from Kyle at thebrucetraveler.com.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's absolutely correct. Yes.
Awesome. And I know you have a ton of stuff that you want to show off. Timing wisely, Art, do you think it's better spent talking through some of the contacts and some of that stuff, or do you want to jump to commissions and some of that other fun stuff?
Well, I think they might be all in one. So
Awesome.
I'll try to whiz through it, and I'm also available for a lot.
And
Go ahead.
the jury has spoken here. Contacts. People definitely want to see some of the updates on contacts.
Awesome. So, as a massive caveat, even though we are in production and in development, sorry, we are in development with this stuff, everything you're about to see is coming. It's not available right now, but everything you're about to see is coming a little later down the line. And again, as mentioned on Tuesday, this isn't months. This isn't in a year. This is well, a couple of months or a few weeks, shall I say? Not kind of years ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and show kind of a kind of revamped Travefy and show you what that will look like and stuff we're actively working on. So, whoa, what is this? This is kind of a new look Travefy that we're going through. I will skip this if the jury has spoken and go to contacts. But give you a sneak peek of what that contacts page will look like. So contacts will be a lot cleaner. This is again a prototype, but contacts will be a lot cleaner with a lot more structured fields. Now, I spoke earlier about TICO. There's a couple of Ontario rules with invoices must have addresses. Well, we will be storing that data now in contacts. You'll have structured fields that you're able to add kind of that information to, and then we can pull that out when creating an invoice with an include address button. So contacts will be a lot cleaner. This is, again, a very, very big overview, but I'll go ahead and talk about some of the things that we're doing. So structured fields is kind of a massive, massive boost there. We're also introducing kind of profile update forms at any point, a live form that users can update when they, or travelers can update when they have changed an address, or maybe they, change their email, they're able to upload all of those. We're introducing passport images and passport data all within Travefy. And then obviously being able to use those at any point in time. Excuse me. We're introducing loyalty programs, emergency contacts, but we're not removing the ability to introduce custom fields. So you still have the ability to create custom fields. Another big one is we're really improving sorting and filtering. That's going to be a big push for us, is that you're able to then search and filter and create segments of users or of clients, sorry, based on anything you want and need. If you want to find, clients that haven't traveled in a few months, maybe they're the one. If you want to find clients who have a family of three, or have siblings or relationships or any of that sort, you will be able to do all of that in our new contacts page. It's really going to be a robust center for you to communicate, and analyze, and find out a lot more about your contact base.
Awesome. We do have one big question, jumping back to email, that just keeps popping up. People are curious, like, speaking of like integrated throughout Travefy, are we planning on allowing you to automate an email or anything like that?
That's a great question. Yes, the very short answer is yes. We are introducing templates and automations fairly soon. So what that means is you have the ability to create these templates that, might be a happy birthday message or anniversary message, or maybe a template that's based on a certain trip type, or even a certain trip itself, or a certain destination. And all templates you wish, you will be able to create within our library page. From there, we will introduce automations. Things like send this email out when it's a contact's birthday. Send this email out when it's a contact's anniversary. Or send this email out once a client has completed a form. All of those automations will be available, and they will come directly from your email address in your own branded email, which is exactly that kind of professional branded look we want to make sure that our advisors can have. So yes.
That's awesome. And now I've been not doing a great job keeping us on time or track here, but I know commissions is the next big one that we hear a lot about, and we've been talking about a lot internally. What are you thinking there?
Absolutely. I'm going to actually show you exactly what we're thinking there. There is some exciting stuff happening. Currently, we needed kind of the invoice feature to come out, one, because it's a really big ask, but two, it is really kind of some of the backbones of that commission tracking, or to make commission tracking a lot more simple. Sorry. Because we've constantly heard about kind of the pain around tracking commissions. I know, I've actually seen some of you use, spreadsheets and emails or pen and paper. We're going to change a lot of that. In the early summer, so we're talking a couple of months, you'll be able to track the total cost of a booking, what the supplier owes you, your commission package or percentage, when it's expected to be paid, and when it's actually received. We'll also be adding a few reports so that you can forecast revenue and follow up on overdue payments. We really want to make sure you can run your business with confidence and clarity. So I'll show you a little bit of what that's going to look like. Again, forward-looking, something that's coming. It's not available today. So within the admin page, you'll notice that after the dashboard, which gives you kind of your tasks, your upcoming trips, or past or ongoing trips, you'll see the invoice page. Now, what I showed earlier is you creating an invoice for a trip. Now, we know that that's an ideal scenario, but you might have sent an invoice outside of Travefy. You might have an invoice that you need to just add ad hoc. You will be able to add an invoice within this kind of invoice section of Travefy now, where it doesn't necessarily have to be tied to a trip. There are many benefits for that, but we want to give you the ability to add an invoice directly. And this gives you a nice table of what's due. You can filter per client, filter per trip, filter dates-wise, any other filters you're able to have kind of an overarching figure. You'll also see kind of an overarching kind of nice dashboardy style of how you're doing. It's all available there. So once we create an invoice, we'll also have the ability to introduce a expected commission, whether that be a percentage or an amount. And that's really good because it allows us as Travefy to help you forecast the expected commission payouts. But we know they don't all work like that. An expected commission and actual commission might be different. So when we look at a commission, we're able to add any booking within here with trip details, supplier details, booking references, and the commission type that you have. Now, obviously, certain trips have different commission types, different percentages, different amounts. So you'll actually have the ability to really customize that and upload anything that you might require for this commission. That might be a kind of a confirmation invoice, a confirmation, booking confirmation, sorry, or anything of that sort, just so that paper trail is clean. From there, you'll be able to see kind of your total, your received, your outstanding, your overdue, and follow up from there. You'll also have the ability to actually record your payments. What have you been paid? Was it similar to what you said? You're able to reconcile payments and make sure that you are getting every kind of penny that you deserve, shall I say, and make sure that the commission is as accurate as possible. We do have some other features that are kind of more geared towards host agencies or small host agency owners, which I would love to touch on, but I do think we're running out of time. But having the ability to actually view as a team admin or an agent themselves, have the ability to actually record payouts and be like, yes, I have paid my agents for this, and this is how much they've received, and add any kind of proof or documents required for that. So this is what we're thinking on commissions, and apologies, it was very rushed through. I'm really conscious of time, but there is a lot of exciting stuff coming.
Awesome. Yeah, this is great. So if you have to summarize kind of that vision behind all of these CRM features that we're working on, what would you say?
I think our goal is to build tools that help agents run their entire travel business directly in Travefy. I think there are tools that an agent requires, but we want to make sure that for the absolute basic flows, for the CRM flows, that Travefy can be the one that covers those. These are tools like authorizing payments, communicating with clients, tracking commission, or managing relationships. We really want Travefy to be the home base and make sure that we have features that allow our advisors to treat it as a home base.
That's awesome. And I know a lot of people have been commenting, seeing this and wanting to help participate early to get a sneak peek at it, but also give some feedback. So if somebody wants to get involved, test it out, or give that feedback, what should they be doing?
Well, we will welcome them greatly, because the more feedback we get, the better our products are. But we really want you to reach out if you're interested. We'd love to include more advisors in our testing groups. So please reach out to us by an email, message, support, or you can actually book a call with me directly. I think the email is in the invite. We really want your feedback to shape what's next at Travefy.
Awesome. That's great. And Stephanie, I'll invite you back on here at this point. I know I've missed some questions. I also don't want to take us over time getting ready for that next session.
There's so many. I just have to say again, I'm already telling the team if anyone wants to jump in here, because all these questions are really helpful, and I already told everybody, but we're going to make sure that the rest of the product team and you guys can watch these all for Liart and Kyle too, because this stuff's really, really good. Okay, I don't even know where to begin, but I know one of them, and you don't have to open it back up, but the dashboards everyone's like, whoa, which I did the same thing. Earlier this morning, Liart shared a screen. I was like, what is that? That is really cool. But I just have one quick question. This is kind of a fun one, is what are you guys most excited for? If you had to choose, what's the one that's really exciting you the most? If you had to pick, it's hard.
I would probably add kind of the commission tracking alongside the invoice improvements that we're making over the next couple of months. I think just speaking a lot to users, I can see the pain with having to manage so many different systems or have to manually do the same thing 3 or 4 times just to kind of keep track of something. So I'm really excited that we'll be able to save them a lot of time and just do it in one place. I think that's extremely exciting, allowing them to kind of free up their time to do what they do best, which is, in the travel business. I think I saw a lot of comments the other day that a lot of advisors feel like they're half travel, half software specialists. So we really want to make sure that they can focus back on the travel side.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And actually, I have a question on that, actually, going off of the commission tracking. There was a question from Facebook. A lot of people are asking is, will they be able to use commission features for tax purposes? Which probably makes sense because what we're all thinking about right now, it's that time of the year. Would that work or how does that work?
So the commission tracking will be able to kind of reconcile payments, essentially write exactly what you've earned and what you were expected to earn. All of those will be exportable to kind of CSV files, and then obviously what an advisor does after that it is kind of available within those flows. We haven't currently looked at in a bit more detail on how to integrate this directly into some sort of that accounting software that works for tax purposes. But I can assure you it's something that we've spoken about and something that we may consider kind of moving forward, is making sure that how we can, or just kind of analyzing how we can push a lot of this data directly into some of the most common accounting softwares out there.
Awesome. That's really cool. And another question, I'm just going to kind of hit you with some here is I saw this one a lot on both Zoom and Facebook with kind of setting up. We talked about those automations and stuff like that with email. But what about, because I know like right now, some people you can keep message templates in your library. So do you have any roadmap of being able to use those templates for emails as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll be able to allow you to use some of those message templates that already exist in the library for emails for sure. And we'll also, something I may have missed out, allow you to actually decide when sending some form items, which email you want to send it from. So you're probably aware that when you send a decision or when you send a form or when you send a proposal, you'll see it comes from a Travefy generated email. Usually that's absolutely fine. But again, for the branding purposes, for the professional purposes, we will allow you to choose whether you want it to come from your direct email, which again builds that kind of client relationship there for sure.
That's great because I did see a couple questions about that. Like, will it come from Travefy? And no, that's the beauty is it's actually yours. And on that is somebody was asking too, will this pull in if they have preset like signatures in their email? Does that still pull in?
We're actually looking into that right now, but
Oh, cool.
what we will have the ability to do is just directly copy it and paste it into Travefy as a signature. So we're not entirely 100% sure if we can pull in the exact one from Gmail, but what we will be able to do is actually copy that one, which you can just highlight and copy, and then paste it into our signature space. But more on that, we need to wait for approval first to see if we can pull that in.
Yeah, I know everybody. Did you know? It's fun learning about how this works. Like you can't just say, we're going to use Google today. You have to go through a big process. So, which is good. That's good that it's really nicely laid out. But a question again on emails is it only going to be plain text or can you put like a photo in that email or what can you do? Do you have the ability?
So currently, until we get kind of the Google approval, you would have seen
Mhm.
that it was just plain text. That is going to change very soon. We'll have rich text linking of PDFs, images, hyperlinks, anything you can think of that you can do in Gmail today or any kind of editor. We will be working towards putting that in the email. So yes, completely customized to the way you want it to be.
Oh, amazing. Okay, wait, I just have to say, I just saw this pop up at the corner of my eye. Tiffany just said, Travefy out here making my wildest dreams come true. I know. That's so awesome that I love seeing everybody. I love that everything's going to be in one place. Yes, that's the goal. All of this stuff. So this is incredible. We could be on here for hours, just picking Liart's brain and asking all the questions. So I just want to thank you both so much. Again, everyone listening, I'm learning this, like we're seeing all this just like you are and getting really excited. So stay tuned, more to come. Just know too that as we release all of this stuff, you will be notified. So make sure you're paying attention to our social media, emails, in-app messages. We will definitely be letting you know, might have some webinars here and there. So we will definitely be letting you know, keeping you updated with all this exciting new stuff. But I just, again, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Liar and Kyle. And everybody here, stick around for in an hour. Join me. I'm going to be back on here and we're going to talk about how it's going to be part of the new agent series, selling your first trip and wowing clients. So we're going to be focusing on proposals and decisions. But now my head is just reeling with all of the new things that will be going on top of that with all the stuff we're talking about. So super cool stuff. So thank you again, everybody. And thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, Kyle, you're muted. Oh,
Yeah, I was just going to express I've had so much fun getting to do these, and thank you to everybody who's given feedback that's kind of led to this direction that Liard is taking us with CRM. It is just awesome.
woo! Exciting things ahead. Thanks, everyone.
See y'all.